Good morning. Today, America has seen its worst attack yet. We have just gained information that Pearl Harbor was bombed. Pearl Harbor is America's naval base, and over 2,000 victims have been accounted for. This is one of the worst times America has ever faced yet. Please, let us take a moment of silence and remember those who we have lost.
December 20th, 1941, we have news that the Filipino Army and MacArthur have retreated to Bataan due to Japanese forces landing on the island. Earlier this month, on December 8th, 1941, MacArthur didn't respond to the radar warning at 7 a.m. The Japanese air attack surprised the Filipino Army and therefore were left unguarded. Then, on December 10th, 1941, the Filipino Army retreated when Japan landed on the island Luzon. Japan came back to destroy the naval base at Cavite, and Bataan is where the Filipino Army and the Americans have retreated to currently on December 20th, 1941.
Good morning. Today, on January 7th, 1942, we have just gotten word that the U.S. troops have entered the island of the Philippines and started to make their way to the country of Bataan. We have a field reporter, Bridget, with more details. To you, Bridget.
In the beginning of January 1942, Major General Edward King Jr.'s troops had begun the siege of Bataan. Today, on January 7, 1942, the Japanese attacked Bataan in the Philippines. The defenders, the American and Filipino forces, were hunkered down in hardened positions strung across the upper Bataan Peninsula. The process of taking the Philippines is proven far more costly in men, material, and time than the Japanese planners had bargained for. Back to you, Juwan.
Hope you enjoyed our broadcast tonight. See you first thing in the morning. Good night, folks.
We are now privileged to witnessing demonstration of Japan's finest air raid siren. Over here, our honorable aircraft spotter. Kitchen hints. To demonstrate how to constructing the delicious Japanese club sandwich. Rice bread ration card, 4. A braised beef of meat ration card, 4. Then eat them. Oh, yum sandwich. Headline personalities. And I, Yamamoto, will dictate peace terms in the White House. armament of a Japanese officer during air raid. Flashes from the Axis. Berlin. Flash, the Fuhrer has just received a postcard from a friend vacationing abroad. For Japanese Navy or at sea. Oh, believe it or don't, this submarine launched 3 weeks ahead of schedule. And here are Zero Fighter demonstrating new tricycle landing gear. Approaching into our scene are Honorable Skinner Maru, our busiest aircraft carrier.
That's all, folks.
Good afternoon. We interrupt this program to bring you breaking news on the topic of Bataan. Here's Bridget with more details.
Today, on April 9, 1942, after enduring a heavy artillery attack, Major General Edward King Jr. surrendered to the Japanese 14th Army. To help support our men overseas, make sure you go out and buy the war bonds to help support the soldiers. Back to you, Jawan.
This is Jawan Cook signing off, reminding you to help support our troops. Make sure you buy those war bonds. Good night, folks.
This is my war ration. I use this so I don't buy a lot of extra food so I can support my troops. They use the food we don't buy to feed them. Here's my war ration.
Thank you for the ration and supporting our troops.
Good morning. Today on May 8th, 1942, the U.S. had a chance to show off its great battle strategy and launched a surprise attack on Japanese forces at the Coral Sea. To give us a more in-depth view on this topic, here's Jill with the latest.
The Battle of Coral Sea was fought from May 4th to the 8th. Japan was attempting to gain more strength in their empire in the South Pacific by overtaking Port Moresby in New Guinea and Talagi in the Solomon Islands. This invasion, called Operation MO, involved a few of Japan's important combined fleet, and it was under the commandment of Shigoshi and Yo. U.S. learned of the Operation MO from signals intelligence. They were under the control of Admiral Frank J. Fletcher, and he ordered 2 U.S. Navy carrier task forces and an American-Australian cruiser force to enter the invasion. May 3rd and 4th, Japan invaded Talagi. Surprisingly, some of Japan's warships were sunk and damaged by the U.S. Japan then entered the Coral Sea ready to fight. May 7th, they began fighting. U.S. sunk Japanese light carrier Shoho, and next day heavily damaged fleet carrier Shikaku. Japan then damaged and sank a U.S. destroyer and damaged a fleet oiler. With both sides having lost airplanes and carriers, both sides stopped and retreated. It was a tactical victory for Japan because they were too damaged to fight. More importantly, a strategic victory for the U.S. because they damaged important Japanese carriers that will hurt the power of enlarging their empire.